G'day. Or as President Gary Wong would say, ni hao. How are you? It's such a privilege for Anne and me to be here at this Light Up Lincoln conference representing RI President Gary Wong and Karina. It's also a pleasure to join DG John and Julie, who have been such a positive and active team from going through the District 500 disaster efforts earlier this particular year, and also the Souls for Souls shoe collecting project and so much more. When I was governor, we had entertainment on the opening night. There were only two speakers, the rep and the governor. Now, he got in first. In this case, it wasn't the case. And our DG rep, after 45 minutes, he was meant to speak for 20, everyone started slow hand clapping him. It was the brand new Adelaide Convention Centre. He took it as a challenge. And so after an hour when he finished, I simply got up and said, "Enough speeches, let's go to supper." They've never forgotten it. Conferences allow us to come together as the family of Rotary. Now, of course, we can email, Skype, have FaceTime, but there's nothing quite like meeting each other in person. And that's how we build relationships across districts, countries and cultures. President Gary asks all of you to share your Rotary stories. Tell them to your friends. Tell them on social media, even on Rotary.org. And he says that these stories are what inspire us and encourage others to join us. And on that note, I extend a personal invitation from President Gary to join him in Sao Paulo, Brazil, from the 6th to the 9th of June. Now, if you're still thinking of going, and I'm told there will be plenty of carnival and sambaing and a few other things, and even if you can't sing or have any rhythm, you will. That's what I'm told. But best to book before 31st of March is the next cut-off, financial. Gary Wong is a charming and very impressive man who's been passionate about Rotary since before he became a Rotarian. The third of 7 children, his family fled the communist regime in China in 1947 when he was only 1, and they settled in Taiwan. He loved sport, particularly basketball, and he said, "Though I was not tall, I was quick. I knew how to move the ball and set my team up to win." From high school, where he was class president, Gary completed 2 years of military service before travelling to America to study at the University of East Michigan. He loved the clean, wide-open spaces of the Midwest and was called Gary by the American family with whom he was living, simply because they liked the film actor Gary Cooper. Obviously no physical connection. From there, it was graduate studies at New York University before returning to countries in Europe and then to Taiwan, where he built up a small insurance firm into one of the country's largest. He attended the Rotary Club of Taipei regularly, but was told on 3 occasions that he was too young to be a member. Not to be dissuaded, he attended every meeting for the next 9 months, until really, what could you do? They invited him to join. By that stage, he was 30. He was president within 5 years, increasing the club's membership from 102 to 138, became the youngest district governor, during which he chartered 19 clubs. We don't even think about that in Australia, John, please. Wow. He was the first RI director and now president who was Chinese-born. We all know that President Gary believes in lighting up Rotary and for each Rotarian to light a candle, and I see we have those in our bags. I also noticed that he mentioned about Confucius being the world's first Rotarian, because even though it was 2,500 years ago, he had Rotary ideas. I won't say that because he just said it. In Shakespeare's words from The Merchant of Venice, "How far that little candle throws his beams, so shines a good deed in a weary world." Gary believes that if we're tempted to say there's nothing we can do when looking at the problems we face around the world, then everything stays dark. That's not the Rotary way. And he believes if you're sincere, your Rotary light will shine and everyone will be able to see it. Light Up Rotary is our action for the happiness of ourselves and for others. So let us show our community that what we're doing is good. I'm sure you've heard that Paul Harris said 100 years ago, friendship is the foundation rock on which Rotary was built. Gary adds that Rotary should be fun. If we truly enjoy our club meetings, genuine bonds of friendship will be formed. He is a president who likes action and progress and sees the vital importance of membership as we try to attain 1.3 million members. The relevance of Rotary is crucial. Now, ongoing change is essential, but without compromising our values or our commitment. But enduring organisations need to recalibrate, re-engineer, reposition. Leaders must be willing to ease stringent club protocols and make other efforts to accommodate a younger, more IT and digitally oriented demographic. He says that the new generation sees the world in a unique way, every individual with a unique point of view. And faced with the same problems, we arrive at different solutions. And Gary says that is why in Rotary, our diversity of culture, language, expertise, gender and age is our strength. Now, Gary has ideas about membership which he knows some of you may like, some of you may not. Possibly if you're from Port Lincoln or Maitland. I won't, anyway. We hear many different viewpoints from many different countries, and Gary encourages us to be open-minded. He believes that increasing membership needs to start close to home, asking spouses into Rotary. Yeah, righto. This is where the Australian and probably the Taiwanese, Asian, anyway, this is what he believes, and I would like to represent that faithfully. His wife, Corinna, after attending Rotary with Gary for some 37 years, finally became a Rotarian in 2013. It was perfect sense, she loved it, and then Corinna enjoyed it so much that her family, the 3 children, all joined as well, in their own club, in their own time. But that truly is a family of Rotary right now. I noted that Julie Campbell also became a Rotarian. She wrote in Julie's Corner, every club is really quite unique, and therein lies its strength. And therein lies the value of make-ups, in my opinion, where you experience firsthand different clubs in action. The family of Rotary consists of spouses and their children, those participating in our programs from the foundation and its alumni, to helping in our projects locally and abroad. Women's leadership contributes a different voice to fostering peace, alleviating poverty and fighting for the rights of the oppressed. And I note that this district has had 4 female district governors. It's fantastic. President Gary told us of this true situation. There was a small club in Taiwan with only 6 members, 5 of whom were past presidents. You're relating to that? Oh my goodness. 3 months later, the club had 29 members. How? First, they asked their wives to join, not realising that the wives had many more friends than they did. Interestingly, the RI board has recently decided to expand 4 districts in Taiwan into 9. 3 districts in India to 6, and the 1 district in Nigeria will become 2. 70% of Rotarians are 50 years plus. Half the world's population is under 30. And our General Secretary, John Hugo, says to be advocates for thoughtful, positive and lasting change. The beauty of people with fresh eyes is that they don't know how things have always been. So don't be shy about Rotary. You have to do the inviting. Rotary is 110 years old. Let's honour it, but not tie ourselves to the past. Gary told us in Sydney at last year's convention, there was once an old man who had many sons who were always arguing. So one day the old man grew tired of this, tired of the fighting. He told them to bring him a bunch of chopsticks. He tied them together, asked them to break them. Of course, no one could. Then he handed a single chopstick to each son, told each to break it, and each one, of course, could. The old man said, "My sons, if you stay together, you will be strong. No one will be able to divide you. But if you are divided, you will break as easily as a single chopstick." Now, he reminds that with that story that we work and we stand together, and that's why partnerships are so important to our work. And that is why being here, making connections within District 9500 is so positive. By the way, are you tracking well with your presidential citations? RI always wants us to promote Rotary, but how do we best spread the Rotary message? Now, I recently heard, and I think John and a couple of others may have too, this New Zealand Rotarian who was looking at a different way to promote Rotary. He thought it would be really special if he could market a range of men's swimming togs, often referred to as budgie smugglers, now that we have a Prime Minister who wears them. And he would like to have each of those items embroidered with a presidential theme. Now, he was excited with the concept. He started looking at themes which could be best. Well, he started with the Rotary theme, service above self. Then, of course, he went to his New Zealand President, Bill Boyd, with Lead the Way. He then examined themes from over the years, including Enter to learn, go forth to serve. You are Rotary, live it, express it, expand it. Kindle the spark within. A time for action. From Australian President Clem Renouf, reach out. Bishai Radikul asked us to sow the seeds of love. Jonathan Majiabi said, lend a hand. John Kenny's theme was fairly similar. The future of Rotary is in your hands. And of course, the 2011 theme, reach within to embrace humanity. As to promoting Rotary through men's togs, it just didn't measure up. However, some guys might like wearing the next theme, be a gift to the world. Gary's father always reminded us to use 3 words to guide him: hand, head, and heart. Give a helping hand. Use your head to make sure that you're helping in the right place. And most important, use your heart to make it sincere. Members may or may not remember how many members were inducted, how much money was raised, but they will always remember how they were treated. Now, in other RI board determinations, 3 new Rotary action groups have been recognised: Disaster Network of Assistance, Endangered Species, Preparing for Life. And at international assemblies and councils on legislation, Chinese will now be included in the languages having simultaneous interpretation. Literacy is very important for me in Rotary. Nearly 800 million worldwide lack the literary skills to complete a job application, to understand a child's report, or to read a prescription. And Gary wrote that in Atlanta, I attended a Rotary event honouring teachers and heard story after story about the gift of literacy and how it transforms lives. It's a wonderful thing that we do in Rotary. And of course, the significance of our youth programs, including Youth Exchange, and I note that we have 7 here, with all the phones off. Yes, good, sorry. Interact, Rotaract, and we know we have Rotaractors here. Rotary Youth Leadership's Award, you had 37 there, and I believe that Dilly, who's also a Rotaractor, was team leader. Yay! Hi, Dilly. And Model United Nations Assembly. Congratulations on your ability to react to and respond to disasters. And it's great to see that Districts 9500, 9520 have a Memorandum of Understanding with Housing South Australia, the lead agency for community and social relief activities in the event of major incidents and disasters. District 9500 has a District Recovery Committee chaired by Jeff Irish from the Rotary Club of Playford. And in the bushfires early in the new year, DG John was impressed by and grateful for the swift action taken by that committee. For those Rotarians in Port Lincoln, my club North Balwyn, and this has nothing to do with representing Gary, came over and helped you. And I know that Port Lincoln Rotarians came over to us in North Balwyn to say thank you. So It was a great memory, and it's something that's remembered very fondly, albeit through disaster relief at our club. Tax-deductible donations were made available through the Rotary Australia Benevolent Society, chaired by Russell Green, which exists solely to provide direct relief to people in need. Other District 9 500 news that I noticed included having at least 15 district grants, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Rotary Club of Clare. I also looked at your handbook that over a third of your district's clubs are over 50 years old. It's a fantastic thing, because often the longest serving clubs are the most productive. They don't only do great work, but they have a great time in doing it. The DG train, going for continuity with District Governor John, Governor nominee Doug, and Governor-elect Doug and Governor nominee John Pole. I also see the round table where you learned about Rotary projects last November. And most of all, it tickled me somewhat. I'm told he's alive, so I can do this, but the induction of President of Rotary Club of Adelaide Parks via telephone. PDG Jeff Shahinger was in hospital, and I'm told that Jeff's photo was present at the club meeting, and while DG John spoke to Jeff in the hospital bed, someone apparently took the photo and nodded in agreement as he accepted the presidency. That's got to be a first. Now, you mentioned a fair bit about the Rotary Foundation, so I was thinking, how much more are you going to say about this? So I will say that from Centurion, every Rotarian every year, through to Paul Harris Society, to benefactor commitments, keep doing that. And I noticed you said 276,000 was your target this year. That's fantastic. End polio now. You know that our contributions will soon reach over $1.5 billion. And that's plus millions of dollars of in-kind and personal contributions through Rotary clubs and districts. Hundreds of thousands of volunteers have taken part. And if not for Polio Plus, since 1988, more than 5 million people would have been paralysed. It was past Rotary International President Clem Renouf's vision, which started Health, Hunger and Humanity, saw 6 million children immunised against polio in the Philippines in 1979. The success of this led to RI President Dr. Carlos Canseco in 1985 announcing what he considered the biggest news in Rotary, the commitment to help control polio worldwide, to immunise every child under 5 against this crippling disease. It became Rotary's top priority after urging from Dr. Canseco, Dr. John Sever, a disease expert, and Dr. Albert Sabin, who developed the oral polio vaccine, following on from Jonas Salk, who invented the first effective immunisation. Dr. Canseco reminded us that we couldn't do it alone, and he encouraged us to work alongside the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and other agencies. In 2007, we entered into a partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and this remains a wonderful partnership. 2015 marks the 30th anniversary, and the RI board has reaffirmed that the certification of polio eradication is the premier goal of Rotary and its foundation. Now, I heard what you said about one. I now believe, thank you, achieving a polio-free India was an extraordinary achievement, but at last Nigeria is very nearly polio-free. As of the 11th of February, now I've been told that no new wild cases of wild had been. Anyway, the fact is that if we can keep Africa clear of it for the next 3 years, it will be a continent polio-free. There only remains Afghanistan and Pakistan, where political instability sometimes made the work of medical volunteers extremely dangerous, even fatal. And no doubt Bruce Allen, manager of the Rotary Foundation at Parramatta, will have more for us. DG John, to you and your team, I wish you well for this Light Up Lincoln conference. We're looking forward to hearing the speakers and to meeting as many of you from District 9 500 as possible. President Gary wanted me to share this with you, the power of one. One song can spark a moment, One whisper can wake a dream, one tree can start a forest, one bird can herald spring, one smile can start a friendship, one hug can lift a soul, one star can guide a ship at sea, one word can frame the goal. One vision can change a nation, one sunbeam lights a room, one candle wipes out darkness, one laugh can wipe out gloom. One step begins each journey, one word starts each prayer, one hope will raise our spirits, one touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom, one heart can know what's true, one life can make a difference. The difference can be you, as you light up Rotary. Oh yes, Shakespeare had it right. How far that little candle throws his beams, so shines a good deed in a weary world. Light up Rotary.